There is something strangely comforting about looking at the night sky. On a clear evening, the stars seem timeless. They hang silently above us, untouched by the chaos of everyday life, as if they have always existed exactly where we find them. We instinctively treat the sky as part of the present. The trees outside our window belong to the present. The streetlights belong to the present. The moon, the stars, the faint ribbon of the Milky Way stretching across the darkness. We assume they belong to the same moment as we do. Yet, almost everything we see above us is already history. Not because the universe is disappearing before our eyes, and not because the stars themselves are gone, but because reality has one remarkable limitation that quietly shapes everything we know about existence. Nothing in the universe can travel faster than light. It is often described as unimaginably fast, and by every human standard, it truly is. In a single second, light could circle the Earth more than 7 times. It could travel from New York to London in less time than it takes for your brain to process this sentence. Compared to anything we experience in everyday life, it feels instantaneous. But instantaneous is an illusion created by small distances. Imagine standing across a room from another person. You smile, and they smile back. Your mind never considers that light needed time to carry that image from their face to your eyes. The delay exists, but it is so incredibly small that it disappears beneath the limits of human perception. Our entire lives are spent inside a world where distances are tiny compared to the speed of light. And because of that, we grow up believing that seeing something and witnessing it happen are effectively the same thing. The universe quietly disagrees. Space is not simply large, it is large in a way that challenges intuition itself. Distances become so enormous that even light, the fastest messenger reality has to offer, begins to struggle against them. What seemed limitless inside our everyday lives suddenly starts arriving late. First by fractions of a second, then by seconds, then minutes, years, thousands of years, millions, eventually billions. And that changes the meaning of seeing. The moon offers the first hint that the universe refuses to show us the present. It feels close enough to almost belong to Earth itself, yet even its reflected light spends just over a second crossing the empty space between us. Every time you look at the moon, you are seeing it as it was a little more than a second ago. It is an almost meaningless delay, too short to matter in daily life, but it carries an important message. Even our closest celestial companion cannot be seen in real time. A second is easy to ignore. We lose seconds constantly. They disappear between blinks, breaths, and passing thoughts. But move only a little farther to the sun, and suddenly the delay becomes impossible to dismiss. Sunlight takes roughly 8 minutes to reach Earth. Every sunrise is already 8 minutes old. Every sunset belongs to the past before we ever experience it. The warmth on your skin, the light entering your room each morning, every shadow stretching across the ground, all of it began its journey while the world around you was still slightly different from the one you now inhabit. It is a strange realization because nothing about the sun feels distant. It dominates our sky. It dictates our days, our seasons, and ultimately, the existence of life itself. We think of it as something immediate, something happening right now. Yet even our closest star exists beyond the reach of the present moment. This is where the night sky begins to transform. At first glance, astronomy seems like the study of distant objects, planets, stars, nebulae, galaxies. But perhaps that description misses something much more profound. Astronomers are not merely observing distant places, they are observing distant moments. Every telescope, no matter how advanced, is also a time machine, not because it travels through time, but because it collects messages that have been traveling through time for unimaginable distances. Every photon reaching your eyes carries a timestamp. It tells you not where it came from, but when. The stars scattered across the night sky illustrate this better than anything else. Some are only a few years away in terms of light travel. Others are hundreds, others thousands. Their light began its journey long before the modern world existed, before airplanes crossed the oceans, before electricity illuminated cities, before the Industrial Revolution transformed civilization. While history unfolded on Earth, those photons continued moving silently through the darkness, unaffected by wars, empires, discoveries, or revolutions. They traveled through an almost perfect vacuum with extraordinary patience, carrying nothing except a tiny piece of information about the moment they were born. Only now have they arrived. It is difficult to appreciate what this truly means because human experience is built around immediacy. We expect information to arrive almost instantly. A message crosses continents in fractions of a second. A video streams from another hemisphere without noticeable delay. Technology has trained us to believe that distance is becoming irrelevant. The universe reminds us that distance has never stopped mattering. It simply waited until the scales became large enough for us to notice. Consider a star located 100 light-years away. The light entering a telescope tonight left that star 100 years ago. While those photons were making their journey, entire generations of people were born, lived complete lives, and disappeared from history. Nations rose and fell. Scientific revolutions reshaped our understanding of reality. Everything humanity experienced during an entire century happened while that beam of light quietly crossed the darkness between worlds. This changes something deeper than astronomy. It changes our relationship with time itself. We tend to imagine the present as something universal, a single moment shared by everything that exists. Yet the night sky reveals that no such universal now truly reaches across the cosmos. Every object exists within its own version of the present, separated from ours by the finite speed at which information can travel. The universe is not synchronized. It is staggered across time. And once that idea settles into your mind, it becomes impossible to look at the stars in quite the same way again. Perhaps the most extraordinary consequence of this realization is not that light takes time to travel. It is that the universe has no other way of telling its story. Every event that has ever happened beyond our planet can only reach us by sending something across the vast emptiness of space. In most cases, that messenger is light. It carries no intention, no awareness, no understanding of what it is preserving. It simply moves forward, never slowing, never turning back, quietly transporting fragments of history across distances so immense that the human mind struggles to imagine them. The night sky is often described as a window into space. In reality, it is a window into time. The farther we look, the older the story becomes. When we observe the Andromeda Galaxy, the closest large galaxy to our own, we are not seeing our cosmic neighbor as it exists today. The light reaching Earth tonight began its journey approximately 2.5 million years ago. To us, the galaxy appears calm, elegant, almost frozen in time. Yet in reality, it has continued evolving for millions of years beyond the version we are capable of seeing. Stars have been born. Others have died. Entire regions have changed. Somewhere within that vast spiral, countless events have already taken place without our knowledge. We simply have not received the news yet. It is remarkable how naturally we accept this idea once it is explained, and yet how completely it transforms the meaning of observation. We often think of telescopes as machines that allow us to see farther than our eyes ever could. That is true, but it is only part of the story. Every improvement in astronomy has also been an improvement in our ability to look deeper into history. This is precisely why the James Webb Space Telescope represents something far more significant than a technological achievement. For decades, astronomers dreamed of observing the first galaxies that formed after the universe emerged from the Big Bang. The problem was never that these galaxies were too small. The problem was time itself. Their light had been traveling for more than 13 billion years. By the time it finally reached us, it had become unimaginably faint, stretched by the expansion of the universe into wavelengths invisible to human eyes. James Webb was built to detect those ancient whispers. Its mirrors do not simply collect light. They collect some of the oldest surviving evidence of cosmic history. Every image produced by the telescope is composed of photons that began their journey long before the Earth existed in its present form. Long before the Sun completed countless revolutions around the center of the Milky Way. Long before there was anyone capable of wondering where those photons came from. In a very real sense, James Webb does something profoundly human. It waits patiently for history to arrive. The telescope never sees the universe as it is now. Neither do we. No telescope ever will. There is no instrument capable of observing the present beyond our immediate surroundings, because information itself refuses to travel instantly. The universe imposes a delay on every observer. Distance and time become inseparable, woven together so completely that one cannot exist without the other. This is why astronomers sometimes describe the observable universe not simply as a region of space, but as a record of time. Imagine standing inside an unimaginably vast library where every book represents a different era rather than a different place. The shelves nearest to you contain stories written only moments ago. Farther away, the books become older and older until eventually you reach pages written shortly after the universe itself began. Every direction you choose to look reveals a different chapter. Every telescope extends the library a little farther. Perhaps this is why astronomy feels so different from every other science. A biologist studies living organisms in the present. A chemist observes reactions happening in real time. A geologist reconstructs Earth's history through physical evidence that still exists today. But astronomers experience history directly. They do not infer the distant past from clues left behind. They witness it arriving, one photon after another, exactly as it has traveled across billions of years. Few ideas reveal the scale of the cosmos more beautifully than this. Somewhere tonight, countless beams of light are beginning journeys that will not end for millions, perhaps billions of years. Some of them will cross empty regions of space forever, never encountering a single planet or telescope. Others may eventually reach worlds where intelligent beings look up and wonder, just as we do, what kind of civilization could have produced such distant light. It is entirely possible that somewhere unimaginably far away, another observer is looking toward our galaxy at this very moment. They may be witnessing the Milky Way long before our solar system was born, because the light-carrying evidence of our existence has not yet reached them. As far as their sky is concerned, we simply do not exist. That thought has a quiet kind of humility. We often imagine ourselves observing the universe, forgetting that the universe, in a sense, observes us under exactly the same rules. Just as we are surrounded by ancient light from distant stars, Our own planet continuously sends its history outward. Every sunrise, every city illuminated at night, every radio transmission, every signal we have ever released into space joins an ever-expanding sphere of information moving away from Earth at the speed of light. Somewhere, impossibly far into the future, those signals may become someone else's night sky. The stars above us are not simply distant objects decorating the darkness. They are reminders that reality is never experienced all at once. The universe does not unfold like a photograph captured in a single instant. It unfolds like a conversation delayed by impossible distances, where every answer arrives long after the question was first asked. The next time you stand beneath a clear night sky, it may look exactly as it always has. And every point of light above your head is proof that the past is never truly gone. It is simply still on its way to us. Perhaps that is one of the most beautiful ideas the universe has to offer. Every night, without realizing it, we stand beneath a sky filled with history. Every star, every galaxy, every faint glow scattered across the darkness is a message that has survived an unimaginable journey simply to reach our eyes. We often think of astronomy as the study of distant places, but perhaps it is something even more extraordinary. It is the study of time itself. The next time you look up, remember that you are not seeing the universe as it is. You are seeing the universe as it once was. And somehow, that makes the night sky even more beautiful. Thank you for joining me inside the thinking room. Until our next thought, take care.